Hi, I'm Andy Olson, and I'm here with Alan White, who needs no introduction. We're here today to talk about drums, and Alan's two new albums, Fly From Here with Yes and Levin Torn White with Tony Levin and David Torn. Hello, Alan. Thanks for joining us.
How are you? Yes, very good. I guess it's a good subject to talk about, seeing as I'm sitting behind one.
Yes, yes. Tell us about the new Yes album, Fly From Here.
Yeah, it was an album that's been hovering around for a while. It's been out since July 2011. And it started really late last year. We started talking about making a new album, how, where, when, and all of that kind of stuff, building it. And everybody had a kind of backlog of material that we were going to present to each other and do some rehearsals. Because we've been touring an awful lot in the recent years, and really we found a window where we could get some new product out and new product on, which is something we all wanted to do for a while. So basically, we started molding the thing, and then we started thinking about producers, and basically, you know, Trevor Horn's name kept coming up to it because 90125 he did was one of the best-selling albums we've done, if not the best. And so he knew we were interested in using him, and he presented us an idea that he didn't say at first he'd do the whole album. He came and he said, probably I'll do one track and see how it goes, see how we get on in the studio and see what results we get and all of this kind of thing. And we talked, and then he came up with the idea of reconstructing a song from that we did in the early 80s throughout the drama period of Yes. And it was a song we only recorded on stage, but it was actually more like a Buggles song that Yes interpreted into, but it was still in the format of a single. So we always liked the song, and it never got to the light of day on any album except a live one. So we thought we'd delve into the song again. We started rehearsing, and then ideas came up, and we started elongating the song, and Trevor started making it more into a story. So yes, we're then going back to a little bit more of the roots in the 70s of doing albums that have a little bit more of a concept nature and a storyline that runs through 3, 4, 5 pieces.
Right.
And that's what we ended up doing with this. I mean, and it was quite. There's one track on the actual whole suite. It's called Bumpy Ride. So it was a bumpy ride for a while, making all of the kind of different tracks to see how they'd fit together, and the storyline would start flowing. And then we kind of, everybody seemed to get it all at once, and Trevor Horn was masterminding the whole thing anyway, and you could see him every day just thinking about how we knit these pieces together and make it into more of a concept type storyline kind of piece that had a meaning throughout 4 or 5 numbers. And it seemed to start working itself out. And then all of a sudden, you know, we kind of, everybody got it. We had these pieces of music that all fit together, and we had We Can Fly From Here. And then Steve had a song that he was really interested in doing, and so did Chris, that they'd been presenting, that was part of the same thing but separate. And then we had another song that we were rehearsing. Actually, we were all in Phoenix for about 10 days, just messing around every day. So we had some tapes of different things that we'd done down there, and that's where Into the Storm came from. It was a cooperation between everybody, just kind of basically jamming, but the jam turned into a really, really good song on the album. And there you have it. It's a piece of music that, you know, I think it's great because it seems like Trevor Horn has the key to what Yes should be sounding like currently.
Right.
So in 2011, he thinks the band should be sounding like this, and I think he's right, because I think it's a good stepping stone. It's a kind of modern sound of Yes that can be embellished on in the next album and the one after that, possibly. Well, we've been playing the main track on the last stage show. We played the main We Can Fly From Here track, but not the whole suite.
Right.
And up and coming tour that I'm doing in Europe, we're going to play the whole thing. Trevor Horn's really one of these characters. He's very much a melody chord man. When it comes to drumming, he knows my drumming from way back. He knows how I kind of approach songs and how I play, and I look at a different angle sometimes to try and take the rhythm section into different time signatures just to make it slightly different and yesify it in a way. And so he'll present me with the chords, and sometimes it might even have a drum machine. And I'm going, well, yeah, but maybe we can embellish on that a little bit and make it like this. And that's one of my beliefs with this kind of thing. And I approach stuff that Trevor Horn brings me at the same time, is that you only play what is necessary for the song. I mean, the song is usually the most important thing. Mm-hmm. Where some bands think the drum and bass playing everything's the most important thing, and they put in melody. But you've got to have that melody, and as that melody is created, you play what is necessary to make that melody work more. And that's been my whole philosophy for a lot of years now.
Is he the type of producer who, it sounds like he's listening to what you're doing and giving you direction? Or does he bring you parts as well?
Yes, sometimes. Most of the time, I say 90% of the time, he just lets me do what I want to do, and he just tells me when it's not working.
So on the title track, the band, it sounds like it's starting in like 5. Mm-hmm. And then I hear, it sounds like that you and the rhythm section are almost in 4 mm-hmm. In that. And I hear that a lot in Yes Music. That there's these 2 time signatures that are kind of overlaid.
I was only practicing in 4 because I don't play it usually.
Yeah.
Well, I do a lot, but at the same time, it's a very typical Yes thing to do. Yeah, the song is built around the lick that's in 5, but the drums play in 4.
Right.
It'd sound too neat, probably, if it was all in 5, including the drummer. And sometimes it's the other way around. The band's playing in 4 and I'm playing in 5, and it just makes the drum beats land in places that enhance the music. It's the way Yes works with a lot of things. I mean, going back in Yes Music to a lot of things like Perpetual Change. I'm playing in all kinds of time signatures, and the guitar's playing in 4. And it's very mathematical. Yeah. How you work things out. Not that we count bars, because I listen to the song, but how we mathematically work it out. In the early days, they used to count it and say, well, if you do 16 of those and I do 27 of these, on the 28th bar we'll meet up again and we'll be right in the downbeat. So it is kind of a mathematical kind of process that you have to make it. But mathematics with feeling.
Yeah.
Mathematics with feeling and very odd time signatures. That's what Yes Music probably is.
How do you keep track of that? I mean, do you just get it kind of inside you at some point and, be able to play that? I mean, are you listening to certain things or?
Yeah, I'm listening to the song. If you don't listen to the song, you're not going to be able to, you could be doing anything anywhere.
Right. Or
just rehearsing by yourself, You listen to the song and make sure the crescendos and diminuendos, the light and shade and all of that kind of stuff within playing, as I said, the mathematics with feeling. In Yes Music is all guided by the song and what the song's dictating, and you move up and down with what the song is telling you to play with feeling. And feeling's the main aspect. You got to do it all with feeling, else it doesn't matter.
So you were mentioning the song "Bumpy Ride" earlier,
Yeah.
and it has a lot of different time signatures. Or
But it's not
compound.
really. It's just basically two. It sounds like that, but it's really not as hard as it sounds. It's just got an extra beat where you don't expect it.
Are there things you do with odd time to make it feel as good as it does? I mean,
Well, it's the lick that Steve came up with. Then I realized what he was doing to be part of Fly From Here, which is because it sounds like you're having a bumpy ride in a plane, because it's like a bumpy ride playing the music, because it's like it's always changing. And it's basically dun 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 boom boom dun 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 boom boom boom. So
Right.
that boom 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 is the secret to that whole thing, because you're always playing an odd time signature. At the very end of the round of the lick, you straighten it out for just one little short moment. So that's what makes it appear jerky backwards and forwards. And then the daddle is all different counts of how many we do it. And the first time it's like you're 12, the second time it's 12 with a bar of 4 break, and then the third time it's 24.
right.
And then on the ending piece, when we play it, when you hit number 24, you go into the very finale of the whole album. It goes da 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 da, and then into half time. And that's the anthem out.
Are there things that you do to smooth out the time, like either snare placement or even accents on
more
the
of a-
hi-hat?
Not really. Sometimes it's more of a natural thing. I just hear the lick and my limbs work accordingly. It's not, sometimes I have to think about it. But other times, if you're approaching it with a lot of feeling, and it is something that's awkward to the normal kind of, like pattern of things that people usually listen to. And for me, it's just the placement of where those snare, bass drum beats are. That's the secret, I think, of making it sound like you can still dance to it, but you probably trip up. But you feel like you could dance to it. So the secret is to make it sound like you could dance to it, but really it's a little bit more difficult than that. You've got to just put an extra step in now and then. That's the difference.
Yeah. I like in the song "Into the Storm," there's a part in 7 that's very unique. The way that you're
Well, Into the Storm's a thing I've used quite a few times in Yes music. It's where you're playing 4 with 4 on the top kit, and your bass drum's playing in 3/4 time. It's something that makes music turn around and roll a bit more, because you're actually listening to somebody playing 4 with the snare drum placed where it would usually be in a 4/4 kind of signature, but the bass drum is actually playing right across it in 3 time.
right. So yeah, when I first heard it I didn't think of it as odd at all, because of that.
Yeah.
Just I counted
Well,
it
you
later.
make it, that's the whole thing, is you have to try and play it like it sounds like it's not odd.
Yeah.
But it would be an odd thing, and it's a great thing for drummers to learn how to do. I mean, it's detaching one part of your body from the other and making it play something different.
Are there time signatures that you enjoy more than others, or is it more that you just kind of play what you need to play? I mean, do you like 5 more than 7, or does it matter?
Not really. Like I said before, it's usually dictated by the song. I mean, there's things in Topographic Oceans and Gates of Delirium, for instance, is in all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And they just, if you started to count it while you were playing the end of Gates of Delirium, you've just got to listen to the melody line. So also, if you started to count it, you'd be lost in no time. So you have to listen to the melody to be able to latch yourself into the way those rhythms work underneath.
So Yes has always had great vocals. It's one of the signatures of the band, which I know you contribute to.
Most of the songs that I've done in the studio purely studio stuff. If I do stuff on stage, yes, drumming takes so much concentration, and there's an awful lot of things going on with time signature and stuff like that. It's very, very rarely, and occasionally, I'll do vocals on stage. In the studio, I sang all the high notes on changes, and at much humor to Chris Squire and Trevor Horn, because I was actually grabbing my private parts and standing on my toes to try and reach the notes. So my name in the band became Astro White after that, and they called me Astro White for a long time. And then I said, guys, I've had enough of this. I'm not doing that again. It's that was in the, when I was in my 30s or something. But those notes don't quite come out anymore.
So if I remember right, on the 90125 tour, you actually were standing up and playing the drums with Leave It.
Yeah, well, I did sing with it, but actually on the record it's Trevor Rabin hitting those high notes.
Okay.
But I that was the range I was hitting. I think he replaced it because I don't think they quite used what I finally did in the studio. So.
Tell me about your typical recording process with Yes, like how you approach it. Do you track with the band? Do you do it by yourself? Are you playing a demo?
We've done it many different ways. Fly From Here was we actually rehearsed the song quite a bit, and we went into the studio, and everybody knew the basic structure. And you go into the studio, everything gets mic'd up properly, and then you kind of play through the song together, make sure all the feeling is right, and you get one really good take, especially when they're all looking at me, basically, see if we get a good drum take. And basically, the drums are the first thing they keep. So everybody will play the song and make sure we get a good drum take. And then everybody will go back and redo their parts and get everything tight with the drums. And it always seems to work very good. And it's basic process. We go through the song and play the song enough times to get a really good drum take, and then they'll look at me and go, what did that feel like for you? Because you're the one that's got to call the shots here. Do you feel that was a good take? And if I say, yeah, I think everything was in the right place, all the right feeling was at the right time. And then we take it back, listen to it, and then everybody goes through the process of replacing their parts, and that's how we build up.
Do you use a click when you're doing that in the studio?
Yeah. We always use a click and decide on a click, and if a song has different parts that accelerate in timing and stuff like that, we take the time to program the click so it makes sense what's going on.
So you don't have to push or pull it, really? It's more of a...
Well, you can to a degree. It's a very fine line. You've got to... It's part of the art of working in a studio with drums, is to play with the click but be able to push it and play on the backside of it and make the music work around it, but you still got that meter that's the common denominator in the music for everything to bounce around. And then, so it is kind of, it took me quite a few years to learn how to do that. Usually when people are just learning and getting into studio work, they find it very difficult to work with a click because it's so regimented in keeping them from expanding. Because of course everyone knows that verses are usually fine and choruses always speed up and then go slower for the verses. Well, that still happens, but there's a way of controlling it and being in an area around the click where you can still give it feeling, but you still have that meter to look back on.
Is there a specific sound you use for a click, or is it just basic click? Well,
I'll tell you something. It's not a cowbell. I used the cowbell, and I was really crazy by the end. I was going to punch everybody out in the studio. It was driving me absolutely nuts. It's just, you get a cowbell going in your ear for about 6 hours, man. You definitely think you're going crazy. Now, a couple of different sounds. Hi-hat is usually pretty good. And they EQ it where it's not interrupting your feel and stuff like that. But it's always there.
Do you find that it kind of disappears as you lock in with it, the click? Or
no, it's always there.
Okay.
It kind of does. You get into the song, but you have to relate to it all the time to make sure that you're locked into that to a degree. And then you know that when other people are tracking to what you've done, they're going to be listening to you and the click as well. So you have to make sure you're within the boundaries.
After all these years of playing with Chris Squire, what's changed? What's remained the same? How do you guys work together?
Well, you know, when you play with a person for so many years, you get to know their style and how they play, and doing so many concerts and making so many albums with him. Kind of get to know how he approaches his instrument and how he feels things. And he's the same with me. It's reciprocal, you know. It's like he knows that I would probably do this at this point in a lick or time, and I know the same with him. If he's trying to work something out in the studio together, I'll see him do things, and he'll be looking for how to kind of get to this note, and we help each other backwards and forwards like that, and it works because it makes the rhythm section work. And obviously, after playing for all of this time together, it works pretty damn well.
So there's kind of a telepathic thing that happens, where you can tell what he's going to do, and vice versa.
That kind of thing.
Would you consider yourself more of an improvisational player or compositional player?
More, I would say compositional player, and then with improvisation in amongst it in certain periods. I mean, most of the stuff, when we take stuff that we've done in the studio, yes, pretty much play it the same when we go back on stage, except I will expand on certain drum licks and beats and stuff like that, and change them on a nightly basis. But minimal, because most of the guys have got worked out parts, and there's a lot of notes and different lines that rely on all of us playing the same thing at the same time. So you have to have it orchestrated to a certain point, and then obviously when the timing's what a pun. When the time's right, you know, you can then expand on it when you feel it's the right place in the song.